Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another round of sound. This is the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. We're ready to go tonight. A lot to get into. We now know who's going to be in the Super Bowl. We're going to talk about the Penguins and their loss today, and also some of the issues they have to be dealing with as they get closer to the trade deadline. But the #1 topic tonight on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown will be football, NFL style. Two very good games once again today. And here to discuss with you is your panel. We have with us Josh Yohe from The Athletic, who's the Penguin beat writer, does a great job with them. Below him, it's Paul Zeise from the Paul Zeise Show on 93.7 The Fan, and of course, columnist with the Post-Gazette. And then across from him, Chris Mueller, co-host of the PM Team, 2 to 6 every day on 93.7 The Fan. So let's start right into it. Great games. We saw 4 great games last week. Paul, I want to start with you on this one. I want to talk about Andy Reid, because Andy Reid has had this history in conference championship games where he's made some mistakes. And today we saw, I thought, 2 at the end of the first half and at the end of the second half. First, them running out of time by not even trying to attempt a kick and costing themselves 3 points. Talk about that play for me. Were you surprised that they allowed the clock to run out?
Well, at the end of the first half was just totally ridiculous. And the big thing about that is that Mahomes has got to be better than that. And I think that's a play that's very simple is, you know, you take a look into the end zone quickly. If it's not there, you just throw it away and kick. If you're going to go for it, you know, with 5 seconds left, that's what you have to do. I mean, your quarterback has to be smarter than that and better than that. And I think sometimes, you know, we talk about these coaches and, you know, Andy Reid, I think all 4 of the coaches actually had some really bad brain farts the entire game, all 4 in both games. But that play to me is on Pat Mahomes. He's got to know 5 seconds left. You snap the ball, you look into the end zone. If it's not there, you throw it away real quick, and you kick the field goal with 1 second left. So I don't know that I blame him for that. And I think the other thing about it is, in the second half, it's really hard to be a genius when your quarterback is playing terribly. And I thought Patrick Mahomes, that was the worst half of football I've seen him play. I know he was bad in the Super Bowl last year, but there was reasons for that. I didn't think there was reasons for him to be as bad as he was in the second half. So I don't know that I necessarily put this one on Andy Reid.
Well, I would say, wait, the reason he was because Cincinnati played well. A lot of the accolades in this one, Chris, went to Joe Burrow. But I thought, if you're going to ask me, the biggest part of this game today was Cincinnati's defense and what they did in the second half.
Well, Lou Anarumo certainly has something going with these guys, right? I mean, isn't that the story? They've held them now to what? A total of 6 points, I want to say, guys, in the second halves of these games. So it is the defense that's the story. If I'm going to castigate Andy Reid for anything besides what Paul said at the end of the first half, just not having a play that gives Patrick Mahomes no sideways options, it would be, where were his answers? He's the brilliant tactician. He and Bieniemy both put that offense together. Mm-hmm. Where were any of their answers for what Cincinnati was doing defensively? Right? I mean, isn't he supposed to be the guy that always has everybody outfoxed and always has a counter move to everybody's move? I thought it really in the second half, you know, Paul talks about how bad Mahomes was and just how scared and kind of shook that he looked. Well, part of that to me is Andy Reid not having a game plan that was ready to make adjustments. I'll be honest here. I think the end of the first half sequence was because they didn't really think that the Bengals were going to punch back. You know what I mean? Like, I thought they figured we'll screw around here. Right. There was a little bit of arrogance there. We're the Chiefs. Who's going to beat us at home? If Buffalo couldn't do it with Josh Allen, these guys aren't going to do it. They got lucky in their own building, and they paid the price dearly for it.
You know, guys, I don't even know how good Kansas City's game plan was the week before. Much of what they did against Buffalo was Mahomes buying time, ad-libbing, scrambling. It's not like Andy Reid was dissecting that defense apart left and right. I thought it was an arrogant game plan from the Chiefs. I think they've done it all year. When they struggled early this season, what were they doing? They were turning the ball over a lot. There was a cavalier nature to them. I think we really saw that pop up today. But guys, I agree with what you said about the Bengals. That defense is really good. When we talk about the Bengals, we talk Burrow and those exceptionally gifted wide receivers, and understandably so. But it's their defense that really has put them over the top. When I was watching Mahomes in the second half, he couldn't figure out anything that the Bengals were doing. It was very clear, and I was taken back to when the Steelers have played them really the last 3 times. Ben Roethlisberger may have looked old at the end of his career at times. He may have struggled with his offensive line, but he didn't look confused that often by defenses. He looked confused by the Bengals on more than one occasion in the last 2 seasons. That tells me that's an awfully well-coached team all of a sudden. And I thought the Bengals just took it to the Chiefs at the end of that game. They deserved to win that game.
All right, Paul, I want to ask you about the other game specifically and keep it local here. A lot of people around here I've talked to said they'd love to have Jimmy Garoppolo as the next Steeler quarterback, at least somebody to come in here. Would you share that same sentiment now after you watched that game today? Because I thought he was not very good either.
I've never shared that sentiment. My stance on the whole Steelers quarterback situation has been the same for the last 3 months. If you're going to bring in some scrap heap guy, you might as well just basically stay with Mason Rudolph and Dwayne Haskins and whoever the rookie is that you're going to bring in, and hope that either if you don't bring a rookie in this year, you build up your team, and then maybe next year you get your rookie. But to me, I have no interest in these guys that are just basically make the Steelers, marginally better and have them fool themselves into thinking that, hey, we can get to 9-8 and get to the playoffs again, and hey, once we get in, we have a shot. To me, I've never been on board with a scrap heap guy, and I consider him a scrap heap guy.
To use a wrestling term here, Josh, I feel like you'll like this more than Paul, but in the NFL, it's a quarterback's league. And to be the man, you've got to beat the man. And that means you've got to get a guy who can beat the man. Woo! And the bottom line is you saw that with Joe Burrow, right? That guy's the man. And I mean, I'm not saying the Steelers are going to pick first in the draft and be able to get somebody like that, but I'm with Paul here. This is a long-winded way of agreeing with Paul. These scrap heap middle tier guys that could probably run what Canada actually wants to run because they're used to a lot of pre-snap motion because they're not Roethlisberger, basically end-stage Roethlisberger. That's just kind of trying to put a Band-Aid on a gaping wound. Look at the 3 of the 4 guys that were playing in this conference championship weekend. Patrick Mahomes, who despite his failings in this game is still probably going to go down as one of the 3 or 4 greatest to ever play the position if he stays healthy. Joe Burrow, who looks like he's going to play foil to Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen for a long time. And Matt Stafford, a former #1 overall pick. Come on, you don't go dumpster diving to keep up with the Joneses. You try to find your own guy like that.
No, that's right. Mason Rudolph and Jimmy Garoppolo are basically the same guy. Really, they're marginal NFL talents. They're very handsome, so they've got that going for them. But they're not stars. They're not Super Bowl quarterbacks. Listen, if the quarterback position didn't exist, the San Francisco 49ers are by far the best team of the Final Four. That's an awesome football team. It really is. It's a great team with an average quarterback. And when you only have an average quarterback, it's tough to win in this league. That's just the way it is. I think Mason Rudolph's going to be the guy probably. And you know what? Given how many holes the Steelers have, it would make more sense to do that than to give up draft picks for somebody like Jimmy Garoppolo. He's not terrible. He's just an average quarterback. Do you really want an average quarterback for the next few years? I don't think that should be in anybody's best interest, especially when you look at the AFC.
With that in mind, we're going to talk about what is the most likely thing the Steelers do over the next couple of years with regard to quarterback. We'll also talk about this Super Bowl matchup now in 56 out at SoFi. It's going to be the Rams, just like Tampa, playing at home against the Bengals. We'll get into that in a little later. We'll talk about the Penguins and some decisions they have to make. It's all coming up. We are live with the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown right here on KDKA-TV. The #1 Cochran Sports Showdown is brought to you by #1 Cochran, Go One Better, and by Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield. Have a greater hand in your health.